Okay, so we want to make this a practical, a very interactive session. Okay, I want to make this a very interactive session because I want people to have a clear idea of what we're doing here in the goodbye to floating loss training. In the goodbye to floating loss training, I'm committed to helping you transform your trading journey. Listen, we have been here since 2021. RoyalQ is a very powerful technology which we use in trading. But you will not succeed in RoyalQ if you don't understand the market. You will not succeed in RoyalQ if you don't understand the bot. You will not succeed in RoyalQ if you don't understand yourself. But understanding the markets and the bot, that's top priority. Then gradually over time, you get to understand your nature and the kind of trades that work for you. All right. So this is a very powerful training. I've done this twice successfully. Within a space of 2 weeks, we were able to take people from novice level to expert level. And I can see the powerful results people are getting just within 2-3 weeks of training. I've taken together all the lessons from batch 1 and 2. Batch 1 and 2, I've taken all the lessons from both batches, and I'm going to be adding it to batch 3. And one of the key lessons I'm going to implement is, just like we start lesson 1, there's going to be something before lesson 1. And that thing is all about the trading view. We're going to give time to help everybody to, get on point when it comes to use of the trading view application. So here's my question to you. Apart from those who have done training in batch 1 and 2, all right, if you have done training in batch 1 and 2, do not respond to this question. So for those who are here for batch 3 training, if I show you this chart, do you know what to do? When I show you a chart like this, can you predict the next move? If you can, predict the next move. If you can predict the next move, say yes. If you cannot predict the next move, say no. All right? Because I want this to be clear. I can see a lot of no's in the chat box. Anybody here can respond to this question. All right? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Dr. Ambrose said yes, he can predict the next move. Okay, great. All right. And this is because I've sent you some of the videos likely. All right. But how can you predict the next move? All right. So a lot of persons here are saying no. No. My goal at the end of my training, and we can achieve this in 2 weeks. But 2 weeks seems to be very intensive for most people, so we'll stretch it to 3 weeks. With batch 3 is my final training for this year. I'm not going to be doing any other batch for this year. And in 2024, I might not be really keen on doing any batches, but if I must do it, it will be quarterly if I wish to do it. All right. I'll be more of doing personal one-on-one coaching. All right. So this is what you need to know. At the end of 3 weeks to 1 month, when I show you this same chart, the question is, will you be able to predict what can happen? A lot of people in the RoyalQ community, they can't analyze. They don't know what to do, how to anticipate what wants to happen. They get confused when they look at a chart like this. So my job is to help you learn how to analyze these markets. I've seen wonders come out of the short 2-3 weeks training. By the way, let me let you know, for those who are paid for this training, it's a 6-month coaching course. 6 months. But we're going to have an intensive 2-3 weeks of it, or 1 month, depending on the pace of batch 3. We're going to make it intensive because there are some skills you need to gather, you need to have. Then you begin to practice and then build on it. And I've extended it a little bit. All right, so we'll give it 3 weeks plus for you to grab everything together. But please, I beg you to show up for trainings. I'm not going to be chasing you for trainings, and that's why you paid for this. People that don't pay, they don't pay attention. So you've paid for this training. So I expect you to pay attention. I know we all have different things going on in our lives personally. There are so many things about life you can't predict. You're going to be busy. you're going to be, extremely, might not show up on every meeting. But here's what I can promise you. For every topic, I hold several coaching calls. The coaching calls are live with me. And my job is to take you from a newbie to a professional within 2-3 weeks. So make sure if you miss one coaching call, you be there for the next one or the next one, because for every topic, I would have to do 1 to 2 or 3 coaching calls. And you don't want to miss those coaching calls because that's what you paid for. All right. So each of the trainings is recorded. And we have some previous coaching calls that are recorded. But hey, I expect you to look at the trainings and take note of your questions. Write your questions down. When you write your questions down, come to the coaching calls with your questions. And I'm going to repeat this. When you watch the videos and you have confusion in any aspect, write your questions down. During the coaching calls, I home my discussions to your areas where you need clarity and bring out the best in you as a trader. There's a lot you're going to learn. And I'm not saying I know it all, but I have enough that is going to make you make good money. Now, for those in batch 1 and batch 2, how much are you making monthly using the training that has been taught? Drop it in the chat box. If you are in batch 1 and batch 2, I did not plan to ask this question, but I just want to ask this question. If you attended batch 1 or batch 2, drop in the chat box how much you're making every month using this technology that you learned in 2 weeks or thereabouts. And I'm hoping that I have 1 or 2 persons who are from batch 1 or batch 2 in this meeting who can give an estimate of what they expect to make within a month. All right. Now, the next thing I want to ask you is, how good are you with your RoyalQ bot? That's the next thing we want to talk about. What questions do you have about anything with the RoyalQ bot? And I want you, if you're a paid member for this training, I'll prioritize your questions. But anybody can actually ask questions because we all have the same mind when it comes to this. So what are the gaps when it comes to your trading with the bot? What part of the bot settings confuses you? And what would you like to know? Because you don't want to be using the wrong setting for the signals you're going to generate, right? You don't want to use the wrong setting for the signals that you're going to generate. Now, one clear question people always ask me, before I come to that question, asking you what your settings are, your understanding of the bot is, one question people ask is, why should I pay for this training? And I always tell them, if you don't pay for this training, you'll be paying by wasting your time in floating losses. Now, we have people who can make 100% in a month, and then in the next 2-3 months, they are stuck waiting for floating loss to come out. How exactly can you prevent this? That's what this training is teaching you. We all know that with a top gainer strategy, you can target a top performing coin, you can make a lot of money. But what strategy can you use for entry and exit that's efficient, that will make you massively profitable and keep you in the game? Now, those who have done batch 1 team members, they're making 40, 50, 60% monthly, and they're still just learning. Batch 1 members are still learning. They haven't gotten it all figured out, but they're making 40, 50, 60% monthly. I can tell you that categorically from feedback and interactions in the group. Now, one of the reasons for also doing this training, apart from not messing yourself up, so you could make 100% in the month of October, then in November you're having floating loss. I'm praying for that floating loss in December. You spend months praying to get out of floating loss, and the market doesn't listen to your prayer. The market is under the control of humans. The billionaires are manipulating the market. Why should you be praying instead of working smart? That is why we have the goodbye to floating loss training. Because floating loss is the only thing that's going to mess you up when it comes to your trading with your bot. So we guarantee that after the trading, you're going to eliminate that. The other reason why you want to do the goodbye to floating loss is this. When the market is crashing, most people will just be waiting and, oh, market is crashing. Oh, the market is bad. Let's wait for it. Who told you the market is bad? Because the market is going from here to here, you feel the market is bad? For somebody who does sell from here, the person will be happy the market is crashing and can make 23% from that crash. All right? So who told you the market is bad? The market is good. You're just trading in the other direction. For the person who sold here, he has made 20%. While you that bought here, you bought here and you thought it was going up. You bought here and you begin to pray to God to help you out of floating loss. But the guy who is selling here has made money. This is why I tell people that we must get trained enough to trade futures. In fact, let me tell you a secret. I've already created a futures group for all those who have done batch one, batch two. You know, every batch, a person has 30 assignments to deliver. Once you deliver the 30 assignments, you must have ingrained the basic concepts. Then you can step into the WhatsApp group for the futures training. Because I'm going to take you into futures in the safest way possible. I know many of you will be scared of futures, but trust me, after my goodbye to floating loss training, you will no longer be scared of futures. You'll be a seasoned trader who will know how to navigate the futures market. And I will show you the leverage to use that will keep you in the game. All right. So these are just some of the things that you're going to learn. All right. So even when we enter the bear season, so those who have been trading RoyalQ since 2021, remember when we're in the bearish markets, we are always saying the bearish market is not good for RoyalQ traders. RoyalQ has changed that by opening up the futures section of the bot. So in the bearish market, it will look like a bull run. The kind of money you'll be making in the bearish market, it will look like a bull run. All right. So just be ready. And I want you and as many people are willing to get out of their comfort zone to be a part of this training. Now, the question some people also ask is, oh, why should I pay for this training? You should pay for this training because if you don't pay, you will not pay attention. Trust me. I have many people who were part of this training and they say, oh, honestly, if I didn't pay for it, I wouldn't have paid that much attention to it. So that's why you have to pay. All right. And it's a lifetime skill you're going to use for till the day you decide you don't want to look at the market anymore. For decades, you'll be using these skills, improving on it, and together we're going to take trading to the next level. Right. So that is why we're here to do the goodbye to floating loss training. It's actually a goodbye to floating loss training if you're disciplined enough to attend the training and get the best out of it. So to all the participants, what I expect of you is to be interactive, right? You have to be interactive. And you have to show up for the coaching calls. You see, whenever we're doing these trainings, as we start, there'll be a lot of pressure on you and on me. The pressure on you is to watch the videos and document your questions and show up for the coaching calls. The pressure on me is to simplify the knowledge and put it in your head within a short time. So we are all going to be on pressure, you and I. And in fact, it's intense pressure. But after, just remember that diamonds are created under pressure. So after that, after those 2 weeks of intense, 3 weeks of intense training, when you look at the markets like I show you right here, you know exactly what you want to do. You know how to get the best out of the markets. You will not be caught napping anymore. All right, so let's get right into it. What questions do you have about the RoyalQ bot settings? What areas of confusion are there? Where do you need clarifications from me? Because the settings that you know, what settings are you using? How many margin calls? The settings for taking this training, all right? The settings you use for trades you generate from this training is different from settings you use for some other things. All those other settings might be okay. I don't know, depending on the nature of the trades. But here, we use whole warehouse mode. All right. Do you know what whole warehouse mode means? That's what we use. And it's just margin call 1 to 4. We don't use sub-B mode real-time settlement here because our signals are very precise. They don't take you to the deep and sleep in the deep. All right. At the same time, we're not promising you that all your signals will deliver within 10, 15 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours. No. All right. But we want you to understand the basics. So please, it's time for us to interact. What questions do you have about the bot? Any areas of confusion? I've been talking for the past couple of minutes. Questions, please. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. All right. Feel free, unmute your.
Hello.
Good evening, coach.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. So I have two settings. I have settings for TGS, and I have the RoyalQ Motion International settings as well. But both settings, well, especially for the RoyalQ Motion International setting, floating loss is showing me shiggy. That's all I can say. I have so much in floating loss. I have about 18 coins in floating loss from RoyalQ Motion International setting, and from TGS, it hasn't been bad taking signals from Prof. I have only one in floating loss. Now, there was one that was so bad out of anger, I had to sell it off, and I'm at a loss of over $300. I was so angry. It was so infuriating. I just sold it off because I couldn't understand what was going on. Now, the problem is I don't even know how to take signals. I don't know anything. They just drop the signal and I just take the signal. I don't know how to use trading view. I don't know any setting about trading view. I don't know trend lines. I don't know anything, nothing. So I think I blame myself for finding myself in the position that I am now with all the floating losses, the coins and floating losses, which is why I decided I can't just be going to the group and be taking signals and don't know anything about it. And that is why I decided that I should come and take this training. Let me see what I can learn and how well and fast I can learn. Because right now, my brain is, I don't know, but I shall try my best. I'll try my best and I'll see what I can do. So that's why I am here. The RoyalQ bot, I know. I mean, it's good. The app is good. People are making money. I know people are making money, so I have no complaints about the bot itself. But maybe it's my setting. Maybe I don't know which coins I shouldn't take when they drop the signal. But anytime I see a signal and I see that I'm probably holding my phone when they dropped it or they just dropped it, and I feel like I have some money that I can use to trade, I just go into the trade and leave it and don't go back 2-3 days sometimes. I won't lie. Let me just confess. I will just leave it until I see on the group sold. And then I go and check. And then I go about my business again. But now I've decided that I need to do better, which is why I'm here. I need to get I've been waiting for this bull run. That's the only thing I'm waiting for. Let the coins pump and let me come out of this floating losses. I told the person who brought me into RoyalQ, I am not doing the networking part of RoyalQ. I am not interested in it. I want to do it for myself. RoyalQ is just for me. So I'm just waiting for this bull run. That was what I told her. I'm waiting for this bull run. Let the coins pump. Let me take my money and go with my tail between my legs because I have been burnt.
Oh yeah,
I have been burnt. So
I understand. I understand the feeling. All right, so don't blame yourself. Okay, you've done the right thing and you're here now. You've done the right thing and you're here now. So there's no reason to feel bad about anything. I can promise you, if you show up for trainings as you showed up today, all right, if you show up for trainings as you showed up today, your trading story is going to be different. All right. All right. So the networking part of it.
Thank you.
The networking part of it is something that's optional. It's not compulsory for everybody to be a part of the networking part. It's something you do if you love helping people. And I can promise you something, when you trade with what we're going to teach you for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, your results will show for itself. People will come to you with their money to say, we want to do this. So results cancel insult. All right. So first things first is your settings. Okay. So let's go to mine. Under mine section, you see my strategy settings, yeah? So you want to keep this clear.
Yeah.
And new. If you're new for the first time, you can keep it clear. I have a lot of settings here because people keep asking me for setting for this, setting for that. But what you need to know is that we do 4 margin calls, all right? So this is 4 margin calls.
Yes, I have that setting.
All right, great. So I just want to show people what that 4 margin calls simply means. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so here you have, of course, you can change the risk type to radical. And go to the under the remark section, you can just type whatever name you want to put here. Top gainer strategy, goodbye to floating loss, settle, whatever you want to type there. Now, we have
Sorry, are you can you go back? Can you go back, please? This that you're showing now, is it on the RoyalQ app?
Yeah. So
You've gone to mine. Did you go to mine?
yes, if you go to mine, you will click my strategy setting.
Yes. My
Not,
strategy setting.
not
Yes.
my
Okay.
synchronized
Yeah.
strategy, my strategy settings. Then yours is likely going to
Yes.
be blank, or you might have some entries, I don't know. Your offline might have put some.
I have three. I have three here. I have three.
Okay, so I wish you could share your screen. I think you should share your screen once I'm done with sharing mine so I can look at your settings. Because the whole idea of this meeting
Okay.
is to just get everybody on the same setting, because once I start training you on trading, we're not going to be looking at the bot again. Oh. It's all chat activities. All right. Somebody say my screen is blurred.
Okay.
It's probably network. Can you see my screen clearly?
It's
Yes,
it's
it's
network.
clear.
All right. So the first thing you need to know is that risk type, you can choose radical.
Like this. Yes.
All right. Risk type, you can choose radical or whatever. It's fine. Then remark. Remark is anything you wished to use to remember the setting. So you could put top gainer strategy, TGS, or you could put goodbye to floating loss, GB, TFL, or whatever it is you want to put. It can actually take any remark you put there. But here's what I need you to know. There are 2 types of settings. There is settings for $300 and above. Okay? And there's setting for less than $300. There are 2 different settings. So what I'm showing you now is settings for $300 and above. Okay? So first buying amount. Your first buying amount is dependent on what your capital earmarked for the trade is. So I'm going to give you an example right here. So I'm calling up a calculator. Let's say you want to trade with, you have $1,500, yeah? So you have $1,500, but do you want to put all of them in one trade, or do you want to be able to take 3 trades at the same time? If you want to take 3 trades at the same time, you divide your total capital by the number of trades you want to take at the same time. So that is 1,300 divided by 3, and that is $500 to each trade. So your earmarked capital now would be what I call $500. You have 1,500, but you want to be able to take 3 trades. And I tell people, don't put all your money in one coin unless your eye is on the market. All right. So, hey, I want to take 3 trades. That means divided your capital by 3, and then you have your earmarked capital. Now, your earmarked capital is 500. That means your first buying amount will be 45% of your, $500 in this instance, all right? So 45% of $500 will give you 225. And that's what you're going to put here as first buy-in amount. So you can see this setting is for $300.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Please, Mr. Coach. Sorry, sir.
Hold on, please.
Okay.
This setting here is for, obviously $300. So when I say 45% of $300, that is what give 135. So this setting is for $300 and above. And I want to handle that first. All right. And now, because we are dealing with high capital settings and we are trading with 45% of our capital as our first buying amount, because of that, we do not put on open position doubled. We leave it off. It's only for low capital settings that we use open position doubled and keep it on. Because you're already using 45% of your capital as first buying amount. If you put open position double, that means before you know it, first margin call, all your money will be gone into the trade. All right. So someone wants to ask a question. Let's take the question first. Yes, sir.
Yes, what I wanted to ask, please, Coach, thank you very much, first of all, is the 45%. I don't know, do you go assume 45%? Where do you get it from?
So we assume 45%, and the reason is this. We wanted a situation where our trades don't really dip much. Our signals, they don't dip much. If you look at the trades with top gainers and especially the training signals, what you're going to generate, they hardly dip that much. So do you want the majority of your money to be idle and not working for you? So that is why we say at least.
No.
At least, that's why we said at least for every signal, let some significant money go into the trade. And so that's why we chose 45% as a figure. Now, based on that, we did some calculation with Fibonacci sequence, and we generated the entries for the margin calls, okay? Which I'm going to show you those entries in a moment. Now, all those entries are the same for $500 and above, all right? Sorry, for $300 and above, the settings for the margin configuration is the same. The only thing that will be changing is what the first buying amount is. Okay, so it was just an idea to say, hey, we want the vast majority of your funds to go into the trading. All right, we want the vast majority of your funds to go into the trading. That's why we said, okay, how much can go into the trading and be making good money, even if it doesn't dip much to use the other part? And that's why we came up with the 45%. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so when you start trading with us, you find out that it doesn't really dip much. You might have 6%, and then before you know it shoots back up and delivers profit. Sometimes it doesn't even dip at all. It just goes straight. All right, so open position double is off if you are trading $300 and above. AI margin call is optional. You can turn it on, but there's a difference between AI. This is what AI margin call does, and I need us to understand. AI margin call disregards your setting in margin configuration. So you can see margin configuration here. We'll get there in a moment. Whatever you put there and you turn on AI margin call, it will disregard it. When you turn on AI margin call, the bot begins to, by itself, scan for the next solid support. It will scan for the next solid support by itself and take that position as where it will buy the margin calls. So when you turn on AI margin call and you put your first margin call at 2%, the bot can disregard that 2% and wait till the thing hits minus 10%, because that is where it has seemed to be the most solid, support level to buy at. So that's, so I tell people, you can just just leave it off. But if you want to also experiment by putting it on, fine, doesn't matter. And that is why, even if it doesn't buy, already 45% of your money is already in the game. All right. If it doesn't buy the remaining 55%, you still be making a lot of money. All right. So whole position take profit ratio. This is a very important. Can somebody tell me what this means? This 1.5 here means. Whole position take profit ratio 1.5. What does it mean? Madam Favor, is the screen clear now?
Can I answer you?
Okay, I wanted to answer too.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, the 1.5%, that is going to be 1.5% of that trading capital that you have.
Great, but
that's above
what does
300, that's what I mean.
1.5% mean? Is it that when it gets to 1.5%, it takes profit?
Yes. When it gets to 1.5% of that your trading capital, it will take profits.
Okay, who else has any comments?
For example, 1.5%, and let me say some $300 will give us $45.
Okay. Yeah,
So when you get there to take it.
Okay, yeah, I get you. So, but does anybody else have something to say to that?
Yes, coaching and yes,
Go
can
ahead.
say something.
Go ahead.
Yes, by that whole position take profit, it's just a signal for the trade to get ready to take profit, which means that if the trade crosses 1.5 and above, and it's ready to take profit, as long as the trade is going up, it will wait till it gets to the highest rising of that trade before it can take profit above that money, but just getting ready for the profit, a kind of triggering the alertness of that profit you have put there, so that if the trade after 2%, 3% is coming back, you can get more than that 1.5%. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's very correct. Thank you very much, Mr. Jero. That's a very valid point. So this.
So please, sorry, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Now, which means it will take a minimum of 1.5. It can be beyond 1.5% from his explanation. Am I right?
Yes, and it can be less than that.
Yes,
Okay.
it can be less than that.
Yeah. So let me explain something to you. Okay. So that 1.5% means get ready to sell and take profit. Get ready to sell and take profit. That's what it means. Now,
okay,
there are times when the market will pump with serious force. It will pump beyond that 1.5 to go straight to 3%.
Mm-hmm.
When it has pumped to that height and then it starts coming down, once the bot sees that it's coming down, it will just take profit. But as long as the market is pumping and pumping higher, the bot will say, don't take profit, just leave it to pump to the highest pump it can pump. That's the power of RoyalQ bots. So it doesn't mean that when it just pumps and gets to 1.5% to sell off. So that's why sometimes you see that even though you put 1.5%, you might get 1.8% as profit. Or if you put 2%, you might get higher than that. So here's another scenario.
Okay.
If you put 1.5% and it gets to 1.5%, it is now triggering get ready to sell. It will not sell. But then suddenly the market starts going down. The moment the market starts going down, it will observe that it's going down and it will sell off. That is when you will see that it is selling off lower than 1.5%. What determines the question now? The question now is what determines by how much percentage it will drop before it sells off. That is what you have here in the whole position take profit callback.
Okay.
So this is why we always try to keep it open, because it's a bot setting. We want everybody to understand this. So that is why we don't normally put 0.05 here, because we don't want it to fall significantly. Because if you put 0.5 here as take profit callback, that means sometimes maybe now 1% you go see for you. So this is the reason why we tell people to put 0.01. With 0.01, automatically, if it's dropping less than 1.5, once it gets to 1.49, or if it's dropping sharply, 1.4, it will take profit. If it's dropping sharply, it might drop very fast. You know, this thing can move very fast sometimes, and the bot will try to catch it. So you might see 1.3 sometimes, all right? If you notice, I don't know if you have ever paused a trade that you did not, you paused a trade, you did not convert it on your exchange. You just paused the trade. You pause it at minus 5%. Then you forget and you come back and see it's now plus 10, right? Do you know that when you just click on resume that trade, it will sell that profit at 10%? It will sell your trade at 10% profit, because even though you have 1.5, it has an internal mechanism that says allow this thing pump to the highest pump that is possible. Then when it drops down small by whatever is in the profit callback, sell.
Okay. Okay.
So this is a powerful tip that people use when they pause their trades. When they pause their trades, they can leave their trade, let it go to 10%. When it goes to 10%, they don't have to convert in the exchange. The moment they just resume that trade, it will take profit at that high profit that it has spotted. This is the best bot in the world, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we are giving time to educating people about it. This is why we are giving time. Because for you to maximize this bot, listen, there are 3 entities in this business. Entity number 1, the market. Goodbye to floating loss training will coach you to understand the market. Entity number 2 is the bot. We are using that as an add-on. This is not what the training is about, but come on, we love RoyalQ. So we want all those who have paid for this training and all their friends to understand the bot. And so that's why maybe somebody must have given you this link, even though you didn't pay for the course. You are coming in to benefit from everything about RoyalQ bot settings. All right. So that's it about go profit callback, take position callback. I will come to margin configuration. Buying callback is the next setting. So this is for people who are doing cycle trading. But personally, I don't encourage cycle trading. Okay, I don't encourage cycle trading. Autopilot, no. I don't really encourage it. Because you might end up in deep and stay in deep for a very long time. So buying callback, we also put it at 0.01. So that means for those who are doing cycle, they can just immediately sells it, buys immediately. Because if you don't put a sharp buying callback, if the market is pumping, it might not buy immediately. If you're waiting, if you put 0.5% here, that means you want it to drop by 5% before it will buy. Meanwhile, market is pumping like crazy to 100%. So you'll be wasting your time and you'd have wasted a lot of momentum. All right. And then strategy period, always one shot, ladies and gentlemen, always one shot. Every trade you take should always be on one shot. Don't waste your time, cycle. Don't waste your time. There's a reason we tell you that. I'm not saying that you can never do cycle. If you are doing cycle with your eye on the market, okay. And if you go through my training, you know when to end your cycle. But please, just leave cycle. What we used to do before, all right, what we used to do many years ago, we don't do them anymore. Because we're evolving RoyalQ. Trust me, we're evolving RoyalQ. All right? What we used to do 2021, 2022, we don't do that anymore. Even some things we're doing 2023, we don't do them anymore. All right? So we're evolving RoyalQ. So please, always one shot. If you go through the training, always one shot. All right, so let's go to the margin configuration now. Does anybody have any question about the settings so far? Before I go to margin configuration? All right, so let's go to margin configuration now. All right, so this is the margin configuration.
I have a question, sir.
Please, sir. Your screen is blank, sir.
What's the question? Other favor?
Yeah, the margin call limits that is for there. What does?
All right, great. So the margin call limit, great question. The margin call limit means I want to deal with just 4 margin calls. That's why we put 4 there. Thank you very much. Somehow I forgot to mention that. Okay, so you can see all my margin calls here are just 4. The reason is because the margin call limit here is 4. If I put 7 here now, I go to that place, you'll see 7 margin calls. Let me warn you, if you do your setting on 4 margin calls and save it, and you come back and change it to 7, it will use default martingale from 5, 6, 7. And let me explain something to you. Let me do it now so you can see what I'm saying. You have to be careful. All right. So let me just put 7 here. Yeah.
I don't even know what that margin call is meant for, the meaning of margin call.
If you watched my first video from batch 2, if you watched that video, you would have understood it very, very well. Did you watch the pre-training call for batch 2?
Sir, deal with me like a fresh person. No,
that's why I'm not dealing with you as a fresh person, because I know you should have gotten that from batch 2. But it's fine. I will still explain that.
Please ask for me. I'm the first. This is my first time, please.
No problem. So, but I know I'm a little tough on her a little bit. She knows. Okay. So that's it. So I'm putting 7 here. Remember, 7 is not what we use, but I want to show you something. Now let me go to margin configuration. I mistakenly put 7. That automatically changed everything. And it took it to 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They go change that margin call setting, that number of, they change it and it becomes a mess. What was our first buying amount? For $300, we had 135, right? This place here,
Yes.
multiple buying ratio.
Yes, 135.
So, Madam Favor, I'm explaining what this margin configuration means now. This right side means multiple buying ratio. It means you will do whatever is here, you use it and multiply your first buying amount. Madam Favor, do you understand? Did you get me? Madam Favor, did you get me?
Yes, sir, but the screen is blurred again.
If it's blurred, open your phone. Open your bot. If it's blurred, I don't really know. Is anybody else seeing it as blurred?
No, it's from her side.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's from her side. It's okay.
So it's your network.
It's okay.
Sometimes the network does that thing sometimes. So, but if you're getting confused, open your phone app and check what I'm telling you. So, Madam Favor, on the right side, you have what they call multiple buying ratio. Have you seen it? My network has decided to be funny. So let me try and reconnect this. Okay, apologies. My network is just excuse me.